Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the forum participants, the dear guests, we are happy to welcome you at the 15th International Economic Forum, Russia-Islamic World, Kazan Forum 2024. It's held here again, and we are glad to greet you on panel discussion of international cooperation of Technoparks, industrial clusters of OIC countries. Today we are here to discuss the key points of cooperation in the field of innovation and technology development, creating enabling environment for innovations growth. We have a unique opportunity to get acquainted with the speakers who actually develop technoparks, economic clusters in their regions, to listen to the stories of their greatest practices, and probably you will remember the contacts of them. Let me introduce you the speakers. Today we have Lena Abu Mughzabi, head for International Cooperation Skolkovo Foundation. Mr. Our guest from Astana here, Omidjun Kamilov, also here, the head of International Department of State Enterprise Business of Tajikistan, and Muhammedzianova Leniza, consultant on international integration and communications, member of State Attestation Commission of the Institute of International Relations of Canada Federal University, head of PR and marketing at JC Eton. Before starting, I want to tell you a bit about our key points. Today we will discuss the necessity and importance of creating connections here in this field. Our regions here are presented, and it's very important that we can see a profound interaction between them, and we can see that the international order is changing profoundly, because before that there was an integration with the United States and Europe. Like the world was fragmented in economic terms, but today we can see that it's not the same. Each country looks for its own ways of cooperation, of development, interaction with existing hubs. Here you can see like how Germany, France, Singapore behave. They are great examples of Western-oriented economy, but for us it's important today because we have an embargo in many countries for work with Russia, lots of sanctions, and so what should we do, and how should we develop our projects, how to scale them? So we will discuss it today, and we'll listen to the opinions of our participants about creating new technological points on the world map, like entering the global orbit of new companies, new technological hubs, globalization of this kind. And I hope that in the nearest future we will see the change of status quo in the world. Statistics says that. Even if you look at Global Innovative Index 2023, the majority of companies, big players, they invest in science, mostly in scaling scientific products. And if we discuss investments, venture funds, it's great to see that many of them develop scientific projects, invest in them. It's a great trend. And the biggest companies, they increase their expenses on research and development. It's $1.3 trillion USA, the historical maximum. And about the investment venture process, we can see a great interest in the fields of VR systems, etc., other high-tech fields, and these projects are of we scale quickly, we presented in any region. Of course, it's impossible to substitute all the import products because everyone will be the master in their field. But in order to scale companies, you need to enter great foreign markets, large foreign markets in other regions. So we can see that branches of Russian companies, they appear in Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, in other places, and a special economic zone in the police always supports this development, because, you know, we should expand the company, our companies from Russia, because it's necessary to scale it. So the issue of globalization of companies is always important, because it's very important to attract investments, etc. So global, interregional, international players will appear like investment funds to help in this development. So we will listen to our colleagues. It's also important to mention technology transfer, which should exist for sure, because you can't substitute all input technologies, but to gain or to give access to technologies, it's you know, a dynamic process. We have something to suggest to neighborhood regions, and they have something to suggest to us. So I want to ask our first speaker, representative of international cooperation, one of the biggest Skolkovo funds in Russia, distinguished Lino. I want to ask you, what Skolkovo Fund is the main innovative ecosystem and the main catalyzer of Russian companies does to develop these kind of projects and to give opportunities for scaling them, to find investments?
For inviting me to be at this important session at Kazan Forum. Dear panelists, dear esteemed audience, very good afternoon to you all. Actually, we are touching a very important and crucial issue, especially nowadays. We all know that the Kazan Forum is all about collaboration, it's about dialogue, it's about coming closer to the partners, and for that we in Skolkovo attribute lots of importance to our collaboration with our international partners. It was even from day one. If to speak a bit or in brief about what the Skolkovo Foundation or the Skolkovo Innovation Center is, actually you could see it on the screen. We have the idea of creation of an innovation ecosystem that is favorable for entrepreneurships and researchers was voiced firstly in 2009. A year later, the then President Dmitry Medvedev has launched the Innovation Center. It's a real city western to Moscow. It's under the Moscow management or Moscow government of 400 hectares. And it's a comprehensive ecosystem for development of new technologies and supporting entrepreneurs, creating research and supporting education. If to describe it, it could be as a puzzle, which its main components are firstly, of course, the startups. We have managed actually to attract over 4,000 startups in our ecosystem. This number is valid to December 2023. We have over 4,106 companies so far. This is the main block. So the main block is our startups. The second block is our industrial partners, including our international ones. And the third main component of this ecosystem is our investors or investment pool, including the Skolkovo SK Capital, our investment arm of the Skolkovo Foundation. And the fourth component, main component, is the Skolkovo Institute of Science and Technology. It's the university that was established in 2011, a year after the launch of the Skolkovo Innovation Center or Skolkovo Foundation. It was launched in full collaboration with MIT. Actually, the first professor was from MIT by then. Now it's a graduate university that attracts graduate students from all over the world. It has over 51 nationalities in home, so it's a global per se, as we could say. The full curriculum is carried in English. We have 15 centers of science and research and education within the university, so it's super attractive, very competitive for students, so we select the best of the best. I could say, because I'm super supportive of this Caltech University in our ecosystem, I could say that they managed in this short period to be ranked 65th in the Nature Index of young universities all over the world. So it's a great achievement so far. There are thoughts now for having the undergraduate studies to also to enhance the research, because what they do there is just providing the basis or the research basis that would be the main for developing new technologies and new projects in the ecosystem. So this is in brief what Skolkovo is, and of course there is the supportive infrastructure with the city management and the Skolkovo Technopark, which is the biggest in Eastern Europe. We have also the Skolkovo IP Center. It's a one-stop shop for all legal services provided for partners, provided also for international partners that are present, providing services, and also analytic research for either startups, industrial partners in Russia, and international partners who are approaching the Skolkovo Foundation for support. With that, we also have our regional operators. We have over 29 technoparks who are with the status of a regional operator of the Skolkovo Foundation, which means that they are eligible for all services and benefits we provide. They get the support from the Skolkovo Foundation. We have 7 representatives in 7 regions in the Russian Federation, and it's actually a source for attracting startups into the ecosystem of the Skolkovo Foundation. We have over 1,800 startups coming from regions. It gives a vibrant ecosystem in the whole Russian Federation to support startups, to support entrepreneurs. And back to the question on what services we provide or how we could help, especially now with the current situation, startups grow. I could say that we have launched and started a special flagship program back in 2023. It's called the Skolkovo Global Camp. The Skolkovo Global Camp actually is a special program that is oriented for a selected number of Skolkovo residents. Last year, in 2023, we had 80 companies that we have been working with them closely and intensively to promote the export or help support them to conclude export contracts with international partners to enhance their presence in international markets. We have done it successfully so far. We have managed to conclude 12 export contracts with in international markets out of these 80. So the ratio of success is great. And we have started the second version, the improved version of the program. It's called the Skolkovo Global Camp 2.0. It's for this year. We are selecting 100 companies out of the 4,000 with the specific capabilities that would enhance their possibilities to concour or develop into international markets. We are working with them closely. It's an educational program. We work with them with curators and mentors. We help them identify the target or the most appropriate target market for them to expand their presence, either by production, either by sales, either by finding the investment or the strategic investor as well. Our target for this year is to close 20 export contracts out of this 100 startups. We are working with them closely. It's one of our main focus programs within the international department. So this is one of the projects that we are successfully supporting, and we are successfully implementing within the Skolkovo ecosystem. Aside from that, when talking about the possibilities we provide, as said, it's not easy to, for let's say, a researcher, because usually it's the case, or entrepreneurs to start a startup as a startup. So we have created a special program for them, which is called the Fast Track. Actually, I'm showing you in the screen the benefits that the Skolkovo residents receive being part of the ecosystem that we have created. So it includes the tax benefits, which is preferential taxes like zero profit tax, exemptions from VAT, zero property tax, the insurance premium of 14%, reimbursement of customs on research equipment that they buy. So this is mainly a supportive measure for the Skolkovo residents. The same, we provide the grants money, which could go up to $4 million, depending on the level of development of the project. And it, of course, it needs to attract the co-financing for this, what we call the big grants. Compared to the micro grants, which is for the, let's say, the daily work for them. Business development we provide, and of course, as said, we have to help startups get these benefits and be part of the ecosystem. We have created what we call it the Fast Track program. We have started this last year, and the main idea behind it is to help newcomers or new project developers to come with a final idea or a final project that would be eligible to get the status as a Skolkovo resident. So we work with them closely. We have a specific curator and mentor that works with them closely into finalizing the idea, either the prototype, if they do have the strategy for their development. And we could say that 40% out of the graduates of the Fast Track program got the Skolkovo status after applying for this. So it's just a mechanism to help them do, and it makes the whole process shorter. So it's 10 days instead of 20 days in the regular procedure, which has no guarantee of the results, because it all depends on the capabilities of the startups themselves. So these two projects are something that we do. When it comes to cooperation with international partners, we have a specific program, and I think it would be really, it's a pleasure for us to always collaborate with international startups, as well as with development institutes like Astana Hub, which we already have the cooperation with, and other development institutes from other countries. We have the Soft Landing program. It's specific programs that we have started in 2019. It's targeting foreign startups willing to touch base into the Russian market. And we do this it's an educational program where we provide all needed information about the possibilities that the Skolkovo Innovation Center could provide for them. It's an interaction ecosystem that we have created within the Technopark. They get a working space within the Technopark itself as well. So it's a very attractive program for international startups. We have over 200 startups that have joined the program from over 70 countries starting 2019, which is great, and we are welcoming more and more to come. So these are two for startups. When it comes to international partners in general, and also for government entities, we have launched a new project or a new service for international partners, which is mainly about strategic consultation. The last one here? No, okay. So the strategic consultation for innovation ecosystem development. So all entities, we get lots of requests actually from international partners who see the success that the Skolkovo Foundation has gone through the last 15 years actually. and they get interest into the possibility of helping them or supporting their vision or their objectives to create an ecosystem similar to Skolkova that provides the same objective, which is supporting startups and entrepreneurship, which is mainly the future. So this is a new service that we provide. The same for customized events. We are always welcome to join our events. And for international corporations, we also provide specific programs like corporate acceleration programs as well as tech scouting. This is something we do, market entry, research, full legal assistance with the support of the IP Center of the Skolkova Foundation. So this is in short what we could do, and of course collaboration in joint projects that we do. We have new initiatives like I could mention the Sky Tech Center that we have launched recently in Skolkova Foundation for developing UMVs. We also are willing to collaborate with other entities in supporting or attracting startups that meet the needs of these centers. The same with the cybersecurity center that we have launched also in Skolkova. So the possibilities are wide in terms of the cooperation mechanisms that we have developed in Skolkova, and you are welcome to clarify the possibilities with us into that regard.
Спасибо большое.
Thanks a lot. With your permission, dear guests, I'll also speak English.
For your speech, and it's very interesting that if we're talking about the IT companies and big software companies, so what are they looking for on foreign markets, or when they come to you? You have a long list of services. So what are they looking for? Investments, market fit, partners, customers? What are the trends? What are the demand from these companies?
Yeah, so it depends on the companies and the level of or the stage of development they have. Some companies come to us looking for investors because we've been working closely, all over the world, but recently with friendly countries, especially in the Middle East, MENA region, India, China, South Africa, Latin America as well. And some are looking for investment, and we help them attract the right investment, or jointly with the SK Capital, supporting them in finding the co-financing actually for the big investment rounds they are looking for. This could be one option. Other companies come to us and say, we would like to expand into new markets because we have exhausted the possibilities in the Russian market, and we'd like to expand the possibilities, get more contracts, and provide the services. So we help them get in touch with our international partners, either it's corporations or government entities. They always, we have actually during the years, we have managed to create a wide range of pool of international partners, of over 2,000 partners on the government level, on big corporations, investment, and even event managers, like event organizing companies. This is mainly to support or to help companies get in touch, indirect touch with potential partners. Other companies come and say, yeah, we would like to create our legal entity, our presence in local markets, and for that either we need strategic partner or we are fine, we just need you to help us with logistics. And then we get them in touch with either chambers of commerce who help in creating the presence in foreign countries, as well as with maybe consulting companies abroad or foreign ones that could help Russian companies. Some companies come to us and say, we already are present in, for example, in Kazakhstan or in UAE, but we cannot find the next contract. Would you help us? So they are already there, and the question is, or the main issue or the main barrier is either a cultural barrier, lack of knowledge of the business culture in the country, a lack of understanding of the requirements, either it's legal, financial, or even impersonal interactions with potential partners. And due to our vast experience in collaborating with international partners, we help them do that. We sometimes allocate for them, for those participants of the global camp, for example, they come to us and we help them get in touch with the main mentors. We also have what we call it a mass standard services platform that we have created that serves the participants of the Skolkova ecosystem. It provides, it accumulates over 20 different services that each startup could apply online and get the service if it fits. It could be adequate for let's say 500 companies out of the 4,000, not all of them, because others, they need personal support, but those are quite mature enough to provide the needed information and the needed service.
Okay, and what happens on opposite sides? You said that you have thousands of partners. If we're talking about the partners from, for example, from CIS countries, are they looking for technologies or IT solutions or hardware systems from Skolkovo, among the Skolkovo residents, for example, Russian residents?
Yes, so I could say that we have different requests coming from different entities. If we are speaking about government entities that are looking for specific, for example, the recent one is the actually an information we received from the Ministry of Trade and Industry of the UAE. They have launched a specific competition attracting solutions of 3D printing and additive manufacturing, because it's part of the vision of creating 2030 of the country to have an independence into the 3D printing that could serve the local manufacturing. So because of the lack of these solutions in the country, they are having such competitions, and they know Skolkova and they know the capabilities of the company. So we have received the request. We've attracted the companies from our ecosystem to apply. One company, it's already in process. It's just like a small example.
Business doesn't hesitate to ask the
Not at all, and even we also work with international partners for specific technological challenges they face in running the business. We had such with Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. This is something I'm telling you just from experience. So we had this request as well, or challenge. We have attracted 80 different solutions, and we had 20 shortlisted and 3 winners. So this is the way we do. This is what we call it, the scouting, technology scouting with international partners, and it's still there. Sometimes we have specific one. We have a delegation coming and say, yeah, we are interested in 1, 2, 3, 4. Please offer, and then we do the match. Sometimes we attend events like this, and we have our companies exhibiting at the exhibition here, and then we make the matchmaking with the potential partners, and they see it. And they do not hesitate to collaborate with Russians or with Russian startups because they know the quality in different. Yeah.
Спасибо большое.
Thanks very much. And now we are moving on over to our dear partners, Kazakhstan. We are very happy to welcome you here. Just in February, we visited the Expo Digital Almaty, where where the expo was held at a world-class level. Kazakhstan is a world-class catalyst for startup ecosystem development in Kazakhstan, also IT project development. Serious trend exists towards development of Industry 4.0 in oil and gas, for instance. So us, and I'm saying us, as a special economic zone in a polis. In this case, recently signed an agreement with you, a memorandum of cooperation as part of the SCO of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and countries are open towards international cooperation. So I wonder, how does Kazakhstan and Astana hub in particular defines its position among the regions? You are in a unique situation. You are developing and you are working according to the Anglo-Saxon law, British law. You're also uniting former CIS countries, a Eurasian community, an important Eurasian community representative, a very important role. Perhaps you can become a technological leader or an investment hub for such type of companies. Tell us more, please. Thank you. Hello, dear guests. Oleg, thanks very much for your invitation, for your hospitality. Very pleased to take part in this forum. Very interesting to learn from your experience. We have long been observing your experience, and Tatarstan in particular, and the Russian Federation in general. And IT Park in Kazan is a very interesting breakthrough technology project. And speaking of Astana Hub, it's a young technopark. We're only 5 years old. Last year, we celebrated our 5th year anniversary. Today, our residents number over 1,500 companies from various sectors. We positioned ourselves from the outset as an international technopark. 400 companies out of 1,500 are international companies, most of whom are representatives of Russian Federation, citizens of Russian Federation, mind you. So we are linked through very close connections, many collaborations. And coming back to your question, yes, certainly Astana Hub, Kazakhstan, has become a gateway to the region, entry into international world markets. We use the term Central Eurasia. And this is a region which is wider than Central Asia geographically. We include CIS countries, Mongolia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, sometimes even Turkey into this great Eurasia region. And we trying to attract residents, encourage facilitate collaborations in the region. But our key goal is to scale our residents, their solutions, their products and services into global markets. And the wider these markets are, the better it is, because our job is to grow unicorns, to increase IT exports. The president set us a goal to reach $1 billion annual export volumes. We began from scratch. Frankly speaking, coming back to 2020, IT exports of Kazakhstan was only $50 million. Excluding telecommunication services and products, if we look purely at IT, digital, little hardware, it only numbered to $50 million. But year 23, we achieved $529 million of exports. So we showed dynamic growth in such a short period of time. And it occurred also through internationalization of our technopark. Many companies from Russia, Belarus, other countries are represented at the technopark today, working with international markets across Kazakhstan and Astana Hub in particular. As you mentioned correctly, we have our own composition of the ecosystem, including interesting components, including digital assets platforms, and we're working on the British law, And we also have many different programs we are proud of. For instance, an accelerator for cooperation called Google for Startups in the region. We have a Drake University collaboration program where we send startups annually into the Silicon Valley. We are very proud of that project. For instance, last year, 30 startups visited Silicon Valley for 6 months, and a number of projects attracted investments from American investors. CITIC's project was one, focusing on smart city projects, attracted Tim Draper investments to the tune of $100 million US. So small steps are made towards our goal to grow the first unicorn. And we note that our residents certainly have enough maturity to attract global investments, enter world markets, but the US is not the only vector of development for us. Right now we are building a complex corridor into Silicon Valley across Draper University. Also, we opened our own hub called Silicon Valley Hub into Palo Alto. We invite your residents there as well. If any of them are planning to visit Silicon Valley, we invite you to do meetups there. It's a great community, getting together for barbecues, exchanging experience, and integrate into Silicon Valley community. It provides for a great transfer of latest trends in IT. But certainly, as I said earlier, Silicon Valley is not our only vector of development. Recently, we have launched El Riyadh hub in Saudi Arabia, called Al Arabi Innovation Hub. With the support of our partners in KSA, we opened it in a very interesting location called The Garage. And it serves a tool, a platform for our project's entry into North Africa, Middle East markets and region. Now, when we say we send our startups into these programs, we are speaking not only of Kazakhstan projects, we're speaking of the residents of Astana Hub per se. That include various country universities, regions and countries. For instance, Draper University project is successfully developing, and taking the opportunity, I'd like to make an appeal. If you have any projects interested in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia markets or Middle East at large, we'd love to hear from you, because we know that when startups jointly enter international markets, they can assist each other, they can do better networking, build wider networks, attract more interest from investors as well, because they represent a wider region. Last year, for instance, for the first time, we first became partners of TechCrunch in San Francisco, the oldest IT conference in the world representing Greater Eurasia. So we're not representing just Kazakhstan, but the whole region. And that's when big tech investors and corporations take keen interest. And with this positioning, we are also moving into Saudi Arabia, that also enjoys huge appetite for innovative solutions. As a next step, we see the opening of the hub of a corridor into Southeast Asia markets, also huge markets. Not easy, however, through comprehensive efforts, we are planning to achieve certain outcomes. By the way, apart from this global exposure, we are working on developing infrastructure of our hubs across different Kazakhstan economy sectors. Over last year, 15 hubs were opened, not large, mind you, however, very useful. And we note that our countries also has many talents that need support, providing and facilitating social lift of sorts, integrating them into the community. There is a project I've learned of recently, born in Ust-Kamenogorsk. It's a mobile game, mobile app game called Grand Mobile, numbering 50 million users in the Russian market, Russian-speaking market. So it's a nugget. It's a really interesting native project providing great export revenues for our country. And we are assisting them to enter the US market and also the Middle East markets and so on. Now, out of some other news, just a few days ago, we announced the creation of our own venture fund, Astana Hub. Astana Hub is traditionally a non-commercial format. We're a development institute. We're an ecosystem supporting projects without entering equity, not after profits per se. And by the way, venture fund is created first of all for the sake of facilitating projects to achieve their goals on export revenues, on scaling, and on building, on raising the first unicorn in Kazakhstan. It's a small project, but also an interesting experience. Taking opportunity, I'd like to invite projects from the Russian Federation, Tatarstan in particular, Tajikistan, and others to take part. Certainly, this foundation is not going to only look at Kazakhstan projects. I'm sure that tickets will start from $200,000 US, and when we structure deals, I think few investors will enter simultaneously. So up to 2 million tickets can be structured. Is it going to be public money or private? This is own funds of the Technopark, actually, which we are collecting due to collecting 1% fees from our residents. So this is the money of IT companies which we are collecting and attracting. And certainly our organization is a state, well, quasi-government organization, but it's not out of state budget. It's more of a flexible format of operations. And so mind you, for all of this to work efficiently as a mechanism, it can only happen in close collaboration with private investors. So we're not going to invest independently. We're always going to have private partners who are going to co-invest jointly, and vice versa. Private investors come in, we're ready to co-invest to increase capacity of the project for better outcomes. Now,
we also plan to develop this direction. Today, Kazakhstan in Central Asia region is the leader from a point of view of venture deals volume, but still it's a small sums. And considering such big countries as Russian Federation, we are right now even going to be leaders in the volume of venture deals. Of course, thanks to Anglo-Saxon law, English law, I guess, too. So you're welcome to structure deals with us to attract our investors. We are ready to support you in full. So going back to the question of what you told, there is an experience of creating such hubs in Palo Alto in the United States. And you have also chosen Saudi Arabia. So why? Talking about Eastern direction within the framework of our conference, why is it Saudi Arabia? Why is this region? Because, you know, a quiet harbor, it's UAE, not Saudi Arabia, but you have chosen this country. Is there any difference between the concept of managing and developing the projects in the West and in the East? It's a good question. We had a choice: UAE, Qatar, or Saudi Arabia. And after having research, conducting research, we understood that Saudi Arabia has more favorable climate because there is a huge appetite for solutions for attracting foreign projects. They are well subsidized. We invest in projects greatly. We are open to the whole world. This is the state politics, like attracting foreigners, investments. We have many interesting projects, the line, etc., etc. So within this trend on transformation of this industries market in Saudi Arabia, we decided that it's the best country. UAE, it's a good destination, but I guess we don't have the same appetite, and it's a bit more difficult to attract the same interest. The competition is high, but we have our representative in this country. But we want, to start in Saudi Arabia to look in how our projects will enter their markets. And we have our first pilots, launches, projects developing here. So we have great expectations. So from your thesis, it's clear that Kazakhstan, in the face of Astana Hub, it's a bridge, like entering through your region in both hemispheres, Eastern and Western, and entering any markets of West, Southeastern Asia, and you launched your own fund. It's great, considering the fact that you still have place for our funds. It's allocation for our funds. It's great. Thank you very much. Let's proceed. John, I want to understand from this point of view how the state business incubator of Tajikistan, which steps does it take from the point of view of startups development? And we also want to hear some thesis about investment culture development in Tajikistan, because we here have the same questions and try to develop this investment culture from the part of startups, how to invest money, why venture is sometimes good, sometimes bad, and the same vice versa. Why shouldn't we just put lots of money here? Why should we be moderate? So we should understand how Tajikistan develops the projects, investments, distributes them, how creates such hub inside the country. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Considering Tajikistan, in general, our business incubator has one main target: entrepreneurship culture. We are in startup field for a short time, and we still to have to develop in this field. If we can talk about an entrepreneurship only in this field, everything is great right now. Each year we prepare nearly 100 young entrepreneurs thanks to our program. If we talk only about startups, well, last year, together with Islamic organization with cooperation in the sphere of science and culture, we have for the first time considered this event with 10 startups, and 3 startups in the end of May they go for pitching to Azerbaijan. We give them the possibility for pitching, for attracting investments. If we talk about investments culture, we have partner project called Tajikistan Venture Capital. Its goal and its task is the School of Business Angels. We attract here the heads of major companies, businessmen, and we teach them the investment culture. We make business angels out of them. And the main obstacle is legislation. In the field of legislation, in venture legislation, we have problems. We have proposed several variants of changing it. First of all, creating law of venture investment and about venture funds, funds. The next is to have changes in the law about investments in Tajikistan. Both variants are considered in our government. And I should say that Tajikistan, it will be the new market for venture funds. And when venture funds will appear, well, then we will be able to say that young entrepreneurs will believe and think that they may get investments and start their projects. Two main startups, ZPI, its cost is 20 million almost. It is present in UAE market, and we have negotiations about entering Southeast Asia. The next one is fintech startup. Talibank, now it's a major bank. It's developing in Tajikistan and entered Uzbekistan fintech market. These are the two largest startups. If we're talking about business incubator, together with ZPI, we start at the end of this year machine learning program. So in regions here, we are presented in 7 regions of Tajikistan. What's about state support measures for these companies for startups? Because entrepreneurs and startups, they are different things. But the startup is the entrepreneur who actually makes a common business process by other ways, other technologies, without breaking the whole construction of traditional market just in his or her own way. And it's great that you develop it, but can we see possibility to attract grants from state, from big companies? So we know that Tajikistan is the largest market from the point of view of constructing and some light industries, and we see that you take this role of this pool in this actually cooperation. If we talk about state support, the last edition in the parliament, we have the law about IT parks. Within it, where will appear support measures for startups, for technological entrepreneurs, some tax incentives, customs incentives. It has already been in consideration for 3 months, and it's not quick. It's not good for developing these measures. And talking only about business incubator, state budget doesn't allow to invest in startups. We do it with international organizations in our country. We have negotiations with World Bank, with Japan Organization on Cooperation, European Bank of Reconstruction. We want to create a money pool, grant fund, so these organizations may invest in it and create commission from the members of the organization and support startups. So last year, we together with our own UN development program supported several startups with $40,000. It's a small sum, but still. On which stage? Primary. So yes, it's not a common thing. So thank you very much. Let's proceed. Let's support you. So, Anton, it's one of the residents of Innopolis, and we can see that you develop quickly in many directions: oil and gas, ecology, some other projects. So here, today, we can see the representatives of development institutions. It would be very interesting to listen your opinion and some feedback from your company when it enters or scales on other markets. Probably there is something that for us is a normal thing, but for you it's a task impossible to solve. Or vice versa, you can give us some advice to probably ask for some other support measures, tell about some obstacles preventing you from entering foreign markets. So good afternoon, dear forum participants. Today is the Holy Friday. Thank you for the possibility to take part in the discussion, for interesting presentations. So today I would like to tell you not only on behalf of a concrete resident company, but in general from the experience which different companies face, different residents of Innopolis, our Technoparks, because you know, my duty is also to help with the projects to enter Turkey market and Middle East market. Today on Islamic countries market, we have a great interest, of great interest for Russian IT companies, for producers of different gadgets, and also Asia Pacific region is of great interest. Turkey, for example. And we know that there are several ways to enter the market. One of them is Technoparks, special economic zones, which open a certain window of opportunities for a certain business. And we all understand that many companies are residents. They receive benefits and incentives in their country, so it's like a living body. It develops and lives, and sometimes there is a need to open the new market, to scale business, to get profit from export, not only from inside the country. And Technoparks, they provide a window of opportunities with foreign Technoparks. And so why shouldn't we make this cooperation a system, so to help our residents to achieve their targets, like to help Technoparks to have the necessary amount of residents, and the residents themselves, they will be able to scale their business, to develop further. Of course, with cooperation, it allows, first of all, to make Russian brands more recognized on international Islamic arena, as we are talking about OIC countries today, and the companies which are under the roof of a local brand, local Technopark, and both foreign Technopark. These companies can develop in parallel two brands, local and global brands. The second thing, being the resident of a certain Technopark company, right from the start receives some benefits, incentives to develop its business. And here many acceleration programs, they help to achieve goals the faster way. Like today, for example, one of Technoparks in Turkey actually invites companies for acceleration programs to this year, and the participation in this project gives companies possibilities to get certain contacts, investments, and to get to new clients, technologies, raw materials. So, for example, the last year, one of the residents of Kazan Technopark took part. They actually, as a result, received huge feedback, possibility to develop not only on the basis of Kazan Technopark, but on Turkish Technopark to develop its global project. So here we see the common support, common benefits for Russian and foreign Technoparks. For the Technopark, which actually has new residents, it's also a plus, a benefit. So we should make this work systematic, to cooperate between Technoparks. It will allow us to simplify this long way for startups, for big companies, which are looking how to enter to new markets. And also, I want to highlight some projects with Islamic values. In our region, especially in Tatarstan, there are lots of these projects. These are the projects which unite values of Islamic finances, education, communication, marketing, medicine. They also looking for entering the export markets because it's the possibility, first of all, to declare something about themselves, to gain more income, more new users, experience, and to look on trends existing right now in Islamic world. In the world of technology development, Islamic technologies, to embrace them and to use them here where it's relevant and this cooperation is relevant. I know several companies which, being residents of Kazan Technoparks, special economic zones, they constantly looking for some points to enter Saudi Arabic markets, Turkish markets, UAE markets, and they try to do it themselves. It's a long way. And of course, we try to take part in business missions, but when we work with feedback, which I receive, I guess I should get more feedback to make it better. And the main thing which every company faces in order to enter the new market, it's always necessary to localize our product, not only translate documents, technical documents, interface, English, Arabic, Turkish, Chinese, any other language. It's also of great importance to make this project like a domestic project. It should look like it's a domestic project, not foreign, like it's their cultural code. And many companies face the fact that their vision is limited by only technical translation of documents, interface, etc. Word by word. But in reality, the work should be wider because we need to localize not only product, documents, business processes to adapt to the market, to the industry, if it's an industry product of certain industry, medicine, oil and gas, etc. But it also should be localized from a point of view of marketing because especially B2C products, where users should understand that it's something domestic advertisement, product, what I understand clearly, what is it about, it actually aligned with my values, and it's the key to success, so a good marketing localization. The day before it was told about the cartoon Masha and Bear or Masha and Medved. In Arabic countries, it got huge support because Masha's image was localized according to Arabic values, and it played a huge role. So here, these examples are of great importance. It's one of my favorite examples because today is Holy Friday, and widely known. It's widely known. For example, as there is such thing as Black Friday in Western countries, but it can't be black in Islamic world. It can be fairy, it can be holy, but it can't be black because it's negative. You know, it shouldn't be black. It's of great importance because when we have such requests for translation, don't use Black Friday expression for this event because it should be adopted to some countries. For example, in Pakistan, there is a law that it's prohibited to use Black Friday concept. It's Magic Friday, but not black, etc. Marvelous Friday. It's really written in law. It's of great importance, values. It's a staple thing. So, And so, of course, yes, the access to foreign markets is also important, not only to localize everything, but to get certain support in order to develop your product. And it's, of course, clear that these technologies are remote technologies, but it's also always necessary to have staff in the country of your activities in marketing and any other field. So cooperation of Technoparks will allow us to achieve that. So I will proceed to the second part.
Now, I'd like to talk about types of cooperation, setting up cooperation, different measures and programs, responding to your question, Oleg. Now, let me start with the second part, educational programs. Many technoparks in various technoparks, special economic zones, are setting up educational centers, scientific centers, like, for instance, in Turkey, universities and these types of centers served as a base for creating technoparks. Financial sector, financial technopark, IT sector, IT technopark, and so on, respectively. So collaboration with these technoparks discovers various opportunities, not just various types of breaks and incentives, but also access to local talent, not just locally produced talent, but also talent that could be developed using universities and with a view of engaging them into international projects later, because we understand that some of the industries are most country-specific, while others are not. This is in high demand, because startups and smaller companies, SME, cannot afford to create corporate universities. This type of cooperation across technoparks and universities, educational centers, would help us close this gap also. Another possible proposal is to set up a resident exchange program. Now, something similar to joining, uniting brands which could be residents in one country, creating local brands, and also discovering global brands to tap into new markets. And this could lead to growing export revenues and also improving various indicators, both for technoparks and for companies. I think that's all for me. Thank you so much. If you do have any questions, I'll be happy. Well, first point, apart from writing code, you need cultural code for your products. And also good forgotten old is something new, right? Everything new is well forgotten old. And universities have always created technological projects, which is very true. And I will agree with you wholeheartedly. Any complicated technical device or equipment which requires fine-tuning and market entry first needs technologists, staff, engineering. And look, our specifics are IT, right? We have IT experts right here, but there are also technologists, engineers, which we have to look for in country or outside the region. Now, in terms of education and exchange programs, IT residency exchange, I'd like to clarify, what is your vision? Do you see it as a peer-to-peer exercise, or do development institutes have to provide assistance to adapt your product to a market? Because when you enter a new market, you are probably looking for a strategist, right? Who has a market share, who is stable in the market, yeah? Yes, certainly. There are two ways of tackling this. If we're talking about a separate company entering a market looking for a partner, we engage experts in marketing, in exports, and who know the local market. Also, education and staff is important. Now, this could be done in special economic zones. If Technoparks and SES collaborate, then residency exchange, business mission exchange programs run, and they could close the gap. It could be could provide a synergy project, because it's one when a startup starts knocking on doors trying to explain the benefits of technology, and another when you get support at the top and certain understanding of strategy, of development strategy and staff training, because not just one startup needs it, right? Certainly IT technologies are important, developers, programmers, but there is also a hardware component without which it's impossible for IT technologies to work. So we need certain staff here for development, for component base, and so on. It's a comprehensive framework, because IT is quite a comprehensive industry. Everything is well interconnected. Some countries use one technology, others use different technologies, and this exchange is important. Staff also. For instance, large business cases. We know Rosatom builds nuclear power stations worldwide, many projects. Also, one of them is being implemented in Turkey right now. And to grow, to train the staff which will operate this new power station in Turkey, Rosatom opened staff training and learning centers across Turkish universities to provide certified staff to be managed by local experts. And of course, we understand that Rosatom is a large corporation that can afford it, this type of programs. But this need certainly exists, perhaps on a smaller scale with IT companies, and tapping into this stuff, adapting the programs could be very interesting, very important. Perhaps not whole scale, but some single education programs. Very well. Now, blitz question for all the participants. We're wrapping up our session briefly. And speaking of cooperation between Technoparks, we see that, and everyone agrees with that, that we need information, data exchange, product exchange, projects, beginning with science and students, ending with business missions, which we all do together, right? And so in your opinion, all of this, or your vision, should all of this develop offline in terms of representative centers, branches, live communications, or is it possible to do it on different locations, so to speak, like online, I mean? So could we set up these connections remotely? What is your opinion? How will this develop? And what would see better development of technoparks and industrial zones, online, offline? I'll clarify. In other words, we're developing IT and the hardware sector, right? Everything related to hardware, other guys working at the factory, at the plant. So we opened a joint technopark, chemistry technopark with Uzbekistan. Today we signed an agreement with Tajikistan. These are joint Tatarstan projects, and so we'll see industrial technoparks being open in allied countries. Yeah, but IT parks don't have people tied to the location. They cannot work remotely. So what about this cooperation? Is it going to be hybrid, online or offline, representative branches, foundations, branches in different regions? What do you think?
Actually, we could answer this question from experience. We had the pandemic. It gave us a great opportunity to test this hypothesis that you are raising, whether online cooperation could be possible or not. And fortunately, we could say that we made it possible. During pandemic, it's like challenge that we all overcome, and we did it successfully. We had even online business missions. During pandemic, we had the first ever in the world online global event, the Startup Village 2020, which was held online for the first time, and it was super successful with great attendance. I cannot say that with regard to IT collaboration, if it could happen or could be successful or not. I would say that with regard to collaboration with different partners from different countries, it all depends on the specifics of the target country. For example, we had our own presence. The Skolkovo Foundation has already 8 years. Its representative office in China. And end of 2022, we have opened our representative office in India. This because we understand that being there and being present could enhance the collaboration and make it closer and easier, because you get to know people, you get to explain the possibilities, you could bring people together. This personal interaction is super important, but it's not the case with all countries. We do these meetings online, we have the Zoom meetings, we have the emails for interaction, but still it's possible. Exchange programs that Lenisa has already mentioned is super important. We do it with startups, and that's why we have, for example, the soft landing program. Actually, based on that experience of the soft landing program that is targeting foreign startups, I could say that we have launched that program specifically because we see the importance on being on the ground, to be there, to feel the grounds, to feel the atmosphere of doing business, to interact between each other. And that's why we have the Technoparks, actually, in Skolkovo and other development institutes, because it's an interaction ecosystem for startups to talk together, to brainstorm new ideas together and develop new projects. So again, it depends on the sphere, it depends on the country. For ITians, they need their laptop and they could work wherever. So for them, online work is okay. Hardware is much more difficult. In Skolkovo, I could say that we have a small scale of manufacturing. We don't have it as with industrial zones, as with other maybe economic zones. So I could say it all depends, but I cannot say 100% that online cooperation is not effective.
Okay.
It could
Thank
be.
You.
Да, спасибо за...
Yes, thank you for your question, Oleg. I also tried remembering how we first set out back in 2017, and the first steps included regular events offline, because in IT industry, the human networking, human capital is vital. Since it's a virtual business, lots is built on trust. And for this reason, personal meetings, communications, networking are vital, critical. You cannot avoid that. And when we develop various platforms, sites in different regions of the country, overseas, we begin with a place for making meetups, events, various types. But for this case to be more scaled, more systematic, we try to use digital platforms. We also have a mobile app with a networking section and a web platform as well, with a wide range of functions, providing a one-stop shop for all type of support measures and innovation, science, IT, where customers can file orders for innovations, R&D, science, from also resource mining companies, others, and all the residents log in to see reports, get updates, and for this reason we're actively developing a module which is called gamification. So what we're doing is introducing XP, experience. It means experience of our users, and we also have a test coin. It's called social coin, which we award to participants for performing certain ecosystem useful actions. And making the social coins and XP, you can exchange it into certain benefits, right? For instance, get a book, get some merchandise, lease discounts. It's experimental at this stage, but we're going to scale it. We are going to tokenize it, introduce hub coins to be able to convert these hub coins into real currency. And we plan to systemize the whole scale. So we have 1,500 residents, and apart from 1% of their revenues as a fee, the second obligation is to provide give back to society, some social services, internships, master classes, giving back. And that's why when we tell them, here is your KPI for a year, you have to make so many social coins, and then your subscription at Astana Hub is prolonged, extended, right? So we can scale this experience, and we expect multiplication effects. As IT experts, discipline is important, and certainly all of these features are related to AI, and we need to implement AI. So responding to your question, it's a hybrid format for developing collaboration, cooperation, and certainly we could discuss some type of integration between platforms, database exchange. Let's discuss it. Well, what a great idea. This token could become an exchange currency when visiting any country to a friendly technopark. Right? For instance, we have an agreement with Skolkovo when our tenants can visit Moscow, and without a lease agreement, they can work at Skolkovo co-working, and vice versa. Similar to companies going to Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and you already have your social points, your social coins. We understand that this is a good player. They're very good, transparent, and they can exchange the social currency into services. So this is very good interaction using this digital currency. This is actively being discussed today in the financial world. The BRICS is trying to create the basis for financial security and a single currency, and this story could be very interesting, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oleg. Now, considering our experience of business incubators, all the events have always been run offline. Throughout 2 or 3 years, everything was offline. Since last year, we've added online formats partially into our format, but our society, our community is not yet used to online. So, speaking of representative missions of Technoparks, exchange missions, I think we could use business incubators for Technopark representatives. For instance, if you don't have your own representative, we can be your official representative, okay? For instance, a few days ago, we ran a business forum in our country, and we connected 2 speakers online. One of them was from Russia, another from the Emirates. They joined online. And when we had online speakers, half of the audience left. And then when offline speakers returned, they also came back. So it's online is not yet a big part of our culture. We need a hybrid format, in my opinion. Oleg, thank you for your question. It's very interesting. And colleagues already mentioned a lot, and I won't repeat them. I think mentality is important because we're speaking of OIC countries, Islamic cooperation countries. I think it's important. During COVID, we were all on home working, online. But Islamic countries such as Turkey and others, they are different. They enjoy live communications, certain type of handshakes, for instance. a number of cups of tea prior to a deal, which is typical for Turkey. Speaking of different things before getting down to business, making small talk. So it could be done online, but it's a different culture. It's still not widely acceptable. Certainly there are advanced communities. There are separate people who advance cross-cultural communications. They know that Europeans do have one model, Russia has a different one, and East yet another. But speaking of the cultural code that provides for live communications, live meetings, and also we note that attempts to launch digital marketing by digital companies online in Turkey, speaking of B2C products, they are always less efficient compared to marketing campaigns offline in real time, where people can touch and feel and talk to each other. And I think it also needs to be considered because depending on which is the target market and the target audience of a company for a product, it all needs to be considered. And certainly noting Islamic world, this is live communication. At the moment, that's a reality and mentality. Yes, there is a certain order. Thank you. Well, I think it was a great experience hearing from all of the panel experts about their strategy, development, behavior in different markets, country specifics. It was great to hear about different aspects and the difference in development of projects which we are running. That's all for now. I'd like to wish everyone to have a great Friday. And dear participants, also, I'd like to know that only in 1 hour the panel plenary session of the forum begins. I'd like to invite you there. Thank you so much and goodbye.